My God, 2 weeks go by so fast, and I love that intro so much. Welcome to the Equinox, ladies and gentlemen. That's Siriani, Carl Maglowski with Vic pressing the buttons. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. Better than the Boston Celtics.
Oh, my God. I can only imagine how Knick fans are feeling right now. After 2 games where they were down by 20, and they came back and won.
But if you're Joe Mazzulla...
Why don't you call a timeout?
After what happened on Monday, you saw that collapse. Last night, when it was a 21-2 run in the fourth quarter, why don't you just call a timeout instead tell everybody and just yell at everybody, no more threes, let's drive the ball in the paint and get to the free throw line.
Let me tell you something. I watched both games. The first game, the Boston Celtics were just chucking up threes like it was nothing. And they were just like, I call it chuck and duck. They just chucked up the threes. And a lot of them, they missed 45 threes in game 1.
And then last night, what were they? 10 for 40?
They were 10 for 40. They were
bad. 25% last night.
25 of 100 free throws. 3-pointers.
Bad. 25%. 25%.
Bad. And the worst part is, like, that last night's game, the refs were kind of more lax than game 1.
Yeah, they were calling no fouls. They
weren't like Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns were getting hit down low.
No, it's basically playoff basketball.
Yeah, which is how it should be.
Yes.
But they were the Knicks were down 73-53 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. 15 minutes left, they were down by 20.
Yeah, and then I saw they were only down by 5. And what? No, don't tell me they're going to collapse again. And I saw it.
It happened again. And the amazing thing is, they did it in Boston. This wasn't like neutral site or Madison Square Garden. They did it in Boston.
Now, I won't be surprised if Boston says, all right, you know what? They win by 20 on Saturday.
I can guarantee you something magical is going to happen for the Celtics over the next few days. Because there's no way they're going to go into Madison Square Garden deflated. Well, they're going in deflated, but they need to pick it back up. But I can tell you this, Madison Square Garden is going to be electric on Saturday.
So here's what my scenario is going to be.
Okay.
If the Celtics don't get 2, if the Celtics don't win 2 of these games on Saturday and then next Monday, if they don't come back to Boston 2-2, I say the Knicks could win in 6.
I'll tell you right now. You want to know what's going to happen? I think this is going to be crazy.
You think Boston's going to win in 7?
I think the Knicks will win game 3.
Right.
And then Boston will win the next 4.
Oh, so like they did a couple days ago, but lost to the Heat in game 7?
Yes.
But you think they're going to finish it, though?
Now, what does this ring bells of?
Yeah, 04.
04. It reminds me of 04. Boston overcomes New York in 7.
But what they had was, they had that a couple years ago. They were down 0-3 to the Heat.
Miami, yes.
And then they had game 7 at home, and they choked.
Yeah, that was bad.
Now, who was pissed off, the Thunder that game was done within the first 5 minutes in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That game was
toast.
Yeah, so the Thunder got mad that they blew that game. They flexed their muscle, and they won by 46.
They won by 43 points.
43 points. It was bad.
Night.
It was bad.
No, listen.
Bad.
And actually, before that Thunder Nuggets game, the road teams won the first 6 games. Of round 2. Pacers won the first 2 in Cleveland.
Right.
The Golden State Warriors won the first game in Minnesota. Although long term it looks like a disaster because Steph Curry hurt his hamstring.
Yeah, he's out for at least a week.
He's out for at least a week, but they're saying there's no time date for his return. So that spells disaster for Golden State.
Well, if what they gotta do is if they win, if Golden State, if the Warriors win tonight, or say if they lose, if they go back to Oakland. Sorry, not Oakland. If they go back to San Francisco on Saturday, tie 1-1. Mm-hmm. If they win one of those 2 home games, then they're still right where they want to be.
Yeah.
So I have right now. We're not sports bookies. We don't tell people what they should bet on.
We really should be bookies because I love betting. I really do.
But as of now, I think they're giving the Timberwolves is a 10.5 point favorite tonight.
They are 10.5 point favorites tonight. Correct.
So the game starts at 8:30, 7:30 Minnesota Central Time.
That's correct.
So only one game in the league. We have some playoff hockey tonight.
Yes.
We have some baseball that had some matinee games. We got some games going on tonight.
Yep.
So we jumped off that. So why don't you go to why don't you get to the agenda, Matt?
All right, let me go to the agenda. Yeah, I'll get to the agenda. I love it when we have an agenda for the show. I do want to get into some NFL first because there were a couple of news stories that happened over the last couple of days. First off, Justin Tucker was cut by the Baltimore Ravens on Monday.
Yes.
The Ravens did draft a kicker in the NFL draft, and I guess the sexual assault allegations at the salons was enough to say, okay, Justin Tucker, you're gone.
Right.
So now, I don't know the name of the kicker that the Ravens drafted, but I do know that Justin Tucker is going to be a free agent, and I don't think any team's going to pick him up.
No.
So this is kind of like Ray Rice 2.0, kind of.
Correct.
Except he didn't wail on his wife.
No.
He took advantage of women in salons, which is not appropriate.
No. Basically another Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah.
Another Deshaun Watson thing. Like he had to parlor, but what Justin Tucker did.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much,
the same thing.
Yeah, but the worst part is the Deshaun Watson thing. Deshaun Watson got peanut suspension.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker's going to get blackballed for the rest of his life.
Right.
And that's unfortunate because this was one of the better kickers of our generation.
Right.
And probably a future Hall of...
It was a little shaky.
Yeah, this year was not his best year. But still, you gotta look at his overall number and his body of work, and you're like, wow, this guy was a really good kicker. And then this happens.
I just noticed, kudos to you. You're supporting the Notre Dame Fighting Irish shirt.
Yep.
Kudos.
I like Notre Dame. Like I said, my uncle went to Notre Dame. His roommate was Jerome Bettis.
So now, yesterday they signed a deal for the next 12 years, starting in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Clemson and Notre Dame playing for 12 years straight.
Yes, I saw that. Yes. I saw that. I think it's a very interesting thing. This also screams, potentially, Notre Dame coming to the ACC. Eventually.
Full-time? I don't think so.
Part-time.
No, they're still going to stay part-time because Vic's shaking his head. They love being independent because they made the playoff as independent. They don't need the league.
They made the national championship as independent.
As long as they're 11-1 or 10-2, if they're in one of the top 12.
No, they can't be 10-2. 10-2 would be bad.
But if everybody else is behind them and they're still in the top 12, they're going to get in.
Well, like I said, out of the three independents, which are, I think it's like UMass, UConn, and Notre Dame are like the three independents in college football. Notre Dame is the only one that stands out.
Yes.
But like they're dramatically better than the other two independents.
No, but for UConn, gotta give kudos to Jim Moore. They were 8-4.
They were, respectable.
Not bad. No, were they 8-4 and they won a bowl game?
Yeah, they did. They did.
What, 9-4 record?
Yeah,
not bad for them. For UConn, that's good.
For an independent. Yeah,
that's good for them.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. But now I want to get into another story, and this actually kind of upsets me a little bit. The Pittsburgh Steelers traded George Pickens away to the Dallas Cowboys for pick compensation, and the first thing I'm saying is, what the hell are the Steelers doing?
So what they were saying earlier is your dad is probably not going to like what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
This gives like a smell of Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play with George Pickens.
Vic's even looking at you like...
Yeah, he is, because what does that mean? Because now, why would they trade away George Pickens? So they have no quarterback. Listen to what they have.
Will Howard,
Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still... I have a feeling that at some point Aaron Rodgers is going to say he's coming to the Steelers.
Yeah, but he's delaying the inevitable.
I know he is.
He's delaying the inevitable.
That's what I'm telling you. I think he's going to be playing for the Steelers. Because they should have got a quarterback besides Will Howard in the draft, and they didn't.
Now, you want to know what it was? They drafted Will Howard in the 5th round to basically say, okay, make a move now. Otherwise, we're rolling with this guy. And they didn't draft Shador because... No. Why would they? Oh, that's a story in its own right. Shador Sanders fell to the 5th round, the last pick of the 5th round.
Yes.
In the NFL draft. And all these stories surfaced on Shador Sanders being unprepared for interviews, him talking trash, Dion hyping him up way too much, and look at where it got him. He almost went undrafted.
Well,
almost.
He's got the right team.
He had the Browns. But you want to know what really pissed me off? And Vic might not have heard this story. So during the NFL draft, there were these 3 immature teenagers. I don't know who I guess they belonged to Jeff Ulbrich of the Falcons. They were
his son.
Yeah, they were prank calling NFL hopefuls, saying that they got drafted. Like, for instance, when they prank called Shador, they made it look like it was the general manager of the Saints saying, "Hey, Shador, I would like to be a member of the New Orleans Saints." And then Shador was like, "Well, this isn't right." Okay, sorry, man.
Yeah, so Ulbrich got fined $100,000.
Ulbrich got fined. I guess the Falcons got fined too.
Yeah, the Falcons got fined heavy, and Ulbrich got fined $100,000.
But like, how does that even happen? How does this guy even get these guys' numbers?
So now his son now has a record.
Yeah, his son has a record now
for stupidity.
Yeah.
So now
not good.
That's going to be on his resume for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You're doing prank calls.
You were prank calling NFL hopefuls during the draft.
I thought he was in college.
Who, Jeff Ulbrich's son?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Jeff Ulbrich's son. I know that he looks like he's in college.
Because I thought he was he was like at least 21. I didn't know he was a high schooler.
He looks like he's between the college to high school range. I don't know much about this kid. All I know is he was an immature bum for doing what he did, and he shouldn't have done it.
That's why I found out too that he did his prank calls.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Shador. He did to a couple other players. Not right at all. But now Shador Sanders comes into Cleveland with a lot to prove. And you look at that Cleveland quarterback room, it's Shador, Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted before Shador,
Joe
Flacco, and
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So right now, it's open competition, but right now you're probably going to go with Flacco, or sometimes we call Fluco.
Yeah.
But he's probably going to be number 1 going into camp, and then we'll open competition.
And it's open competition from there.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Now, there's other things that happened yesterday. So Dallas Goedert and the Eagles came to terms on a reconstruction contract. So now Dallas Goedert will be part of the Eagles this year for $10 million.
Nice.
So I have a feeling this could be his last year for the Eagles, and then next year they might get the tight end. They should have drafted a tight end anyway this year.
Yeah, they didn't.
But they didn't. But who knows? Maybe next year they could. But still early. Who knows what how he could do?
Right.
But at least the less money, which is good.
Also, people are giving the New York Giants a lot of grief after the draft. And the reason why is because they took a QB in the first round by taking Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. Now, let me tell you something. I have video on my phone of me screaming my head off happy the fact that they took Jackson Dart. You want to know why? Because I liked Jackson Dart from the beginning.
Right.
And I thought that he would be the guy of the future after Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston are done with their time in Big Blue. I think Russell Wilson's going to be the week 1 starter. I don't think Jackson Dart you have to start right away. But having said that, the people are giving the Giants grief because like, oh, this quarterback class is so bad and you didn't need to draft a QB and yada yada. But look at what the Giants did overall in this draft. They drafted really freaking well. Joe Shane, well done. Because they drafted Abdul Carter.
Yeah. That
pass rush is going to be awesome this year. Because they got Brian Burns.
Right.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Right.
They got Dexter Lawrence. They got Darius Alexander, who they drafted in the 3rd round.
Right.
And now they got Abdul Carter, who a lot of people like.
Okay.
So that pass rush is going to be nice.
Right.
So there's that. Second, they got Jackson Dart. We know that already. Third, and I love this pick a lot, they got tight end. They got an offensive lineman. They got Cam Scatterboo out of Arizona State.
Yes, I saw that pick.
That was the pick that made me go, oh my God. That was something that I did not expect. And it's great because this is a guy who could be your RB1, if not RB2 for the short term, because right now we have Tyrone Tracy. But I like the pick. I like it a lot. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm happy for you, man. I'll let you keep on talking about your hyping up your Giants because I'm sitting back just waiting, and then when I'll come back, and then when I sit up and I'll tell you the true story, what's going to happen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you.
No, like, if you watched those bowl games against Texas, and if you watched the Big 12 championship game, Cam Scatterboo is a beast.
He was. I'm not saying
that dude is a monster. He wanted to throw up at one point during the Texas game, and he kept going.
He did. I give you credit.
Like this guy, I think is like going to be the unsung hero of the Giants running game. I genuinely mean that because Tyrone Tracy had a good rookie season, but I think that if Tyrone Tracy's your backup running back, I think that that's good. But look at the backup running back production last year for the Giants. Devin Singletary and Eric Gray. No.
Right.
Not it. So at least now you have a decent 1-2 punch at running back. Cam Scatterboo. When I saw they got him, I couldn't believe it. I thought that I was dreaming. I really thought I was dreaming.
All right, so let me come back. Sit back up, Sam. Sit back up. All right,
Sure.
so here's what we got here. All right, so good. You got good draft. All right, the good. Okay,
What's the good?
Here's the good. All right, the good is you got your supposedly quarterback for the future.
Yes.
Franchise quarterback.
Yes.
First round. Okay, pick number 25 in the first round. Okay, you have your backup,
Yes.
which is Jameis. You got Jameis.
It's even Jameis Winston, yes.
Famous Jameis. Okay, no problem. Here's a downfall. You got Russell.
So
You got Russell Wilson. So he's only for this year.
for this year, yeah, and then Jackson Dart comes in.
So you think he's gonna? So you think next year it's gonna be Jackson Dart over Jameis?
yeah. I don't really want a guy throwing 30 interceptions in a single season.
Okay, so Jameis will still be the backup. Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't see them overseeing the Eagles,
I agree.
Commanders,
I agree.
and the Cowboys.
I think they could take Dallas.
So this year with George Pickens, this is what I say. In this order, next year might change. So this year I see Eagles or Commanders, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So Eagles, Commanders, and one of them wins the division, one of them makes a wild card.
Yeah.
Okay. Dallas, the Cowboys, maybe 9-8, trying to be the 6th seed or 7th seed. They're not winning our division.
Nope.
No. Giants, they're a little bit better. They may win from 3. They might get to 6.
They're not going to be a top 5 pick for sure.
No, they'll get better, but they're not going to. No. So it's going to be Eagles and
Commanders are really good.
Have a harder schedule.
Yeah.
So I can see the Eagles 12-5 and the Commanders 11-6. Okay. Maybe next year, I don't see Brian Schottenheimer as that guy.
That guy, I don't
As
know why
the
he was
head-
even given the
head
title of
coach?
Head coach, yeah.
But, maybe, I don't know.
That was a head scratcher.
He was offense coordinator. Now they bumped him up. I don't what made him decide.
You want to know why they fired Mike McCarthy? I'll tell you the reason why they fired Mike McCarthy. Because Mike McCarthy is not going to lie down for Jerry Jones.
No.
He never did lie down for Jerry Jones,
No.
and I commend him for it because lying down to Jerry Jones means that you're a sign of weakness.
Yeah, so that's shocking that he couldn't even get Dion there. He had to do basically how he brought in Jason Garrett for 10 years. and
That's
it was
right.
average.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what you got with who knows? I don't know. You'll know after halfway through this season.
We'll
coming
know
up.
halfway through the year whether they're not the Cowboys
All right,
are
so yeah.
relevant.
They're in trouble because at some point they're gonna have to pay Michael Parsons.
That's true.
To me, I think Michael Parsons is overrated.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to stop the run. He's only an edge rusher.
And he talks a lot.
He talks a lot of junk. So I think he's overrated. He wants a big money. He wants a big deal. He also does his podcast.
Yeah. That's what gets him in trouble a lot.
I don't agree with. She just shut up and play football.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't. It's like when Aaron Rodgers goes on the McAfee show every week.
Oh, yeah.
Now here's the thing: is he going to do that? Is Mike Tomlin going to allow him to do that? If he's on the Steelers,
You know what's funny? They say Pat McAfee hails from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I don't know if like that's going to be an in for McAfee for the Steelers if Aaron Rodgers goes there. Are we back?
We're back.
Oh my God. Okay, so
All right, so Darren Siriani, if you're hearing us, let me think. What do you think about potentially Aaron Rodgers being your Week 1 starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025?
yeah, that should be something. First off, I gotta give a shout out to Vic, because we had the weirdest thing transpire. We had no internet in this room for literally a good couple minutes.
I did nothing.
Well, we're giving you credit anyway, Vic, because you. Anyway, while we're still here,
Yes.
I've never been in this situation before. We're gonna get into the NBA playoff series right now. We're gonna go quickly through the eight first round series.
A wild card.
Wild card. I guess our first round. OKC and Cleveland dominated their respective series in sweeps, with OKC dominating the Memphis Grizzlies, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers having the most lopsided series in NBA playoff history against the Miami Heat. The Pacers beat the Bucks in 5, and then Tyrese Halliburton's dad got in Giannis's face. The Boston Celtics cruised past the Orlando Magic in 5 games. The Timberwolves shocked the Lakers in 5 games. The Knicks outlasted the Pistons in 6 games,
Which I predicted.
which you did predict. Props to you. The Warriors upset the Rockets in 7 games, and then the Nuggets blew out the Clippers in Game 7 to advance to the Western Conference semifinals.
Yes.
So, you did mention something about the Clippers.
Yes.
I think you did. What were you right about that made you feel happy that when we saw each other on Sunday, you were like, yeah, called it.
Big games. Clippers, that's who they are. They always had big game 7s, and they never came through. When they were up 3-1 against the Rockets in Western Conference second round when Doc Rivers was the coach, years ago when they had Lob City with Chris Paul, J.J. Redick,
Blake Griffin,
DeAndre Jordan, they were up 3-1. And when Kevin McHale was the Houston Rockets coach, they lost that series 4-3, Game 7 in Houston. So the Clippers have no fortitude in the big games. They always come up short. For that Game 7, it was close, and then in the third quarter, the Nuggets went on a big run and just put the game wide open.
yeah,
James Harden, for who he is,
great player.
He wasn't Houston's James Harden.
He's long past.
He's just a point guard who is now an assist maker. So basically, he dishes. So he didn't have a bad game, but nobody else showed up.
Yeah.
So you can't fault that. So this with what we got so far, we have the Knicks over the Celtics, 2 games to none.
2 games to none. Pacers over the Cavs.
2 games to none, which both games were like second last shot win by the Pacers.
Yeah, and that was actually kind of crazy.
You know, right now we also have Memphis, Golden State. No, not Memphis. We have Minnesota, Golden State tied 1-1 game. No, 1-0.
It's 1-0.
Game 2 tonight at 8:30.
Golden State is up 1-0, but they might lose tonight because Minnesota is fully healthy, and Steph Curry will not be playing for the Warriors for possibly the next week.
We have 1-1 Denver and Oklahoma City. Now, that game 3 is tomorrow night in Denver at 10 o'clock, ESPN. Game 3 of Cleveland at Indiana is at 7:30
Yes.
on ESPN. Game 3, Boston at the Knicks,
3:30
on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Game 3, Minnesota at Golden State, 8:30 on ABC on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, like we said, I think maybe Saturday the Knicks could, the Celtics may show up and win that game.
Can you imagine in front of a raucous Madison Square Garden crowd, the Knicks get silenced by the Celtics?
Now, here's if the Celtics are going to, I'm mumbling.
Go ahead. No, take your time.
If the Celtics want to win Game 3 in New York on Saturday, they need to go to the paint.
They cannot chuck and dunk.
No, go to the paint, go get fouled, go to the free throw line, and basically play bully ball.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks are more physical right now in the series in the fourth quarter than the Celtics.
Agreed.
Celtics are playing finesse basketball, and Tibbs, it's basically it's power. Say it's bully ball.
Yeah. You want to know the crazy thing about these two games that the Knicks have won? The crazy thing is Jalen Brunson hasn't had a break out in those two games. Last game he wasn't fantastic.
Right.
And then the game one he had 29, but that's not breakout performance worthy.
Right. So what happened was the more physical team, the last two games were the Knicks and they got it. So here's what it is. So there was on Monday, I think Jaylen Brown was last seconds of the overtime.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown was driving. Okay. There was a ball. Instead of getting physical and going up, Josh Hart just stripped it from his hands.
Yeah, and then the same thing.
So they're going for the ball. They're more hungrier.
Yeah, and the same thing happened at the last end of both games. Mikal Bridges also on the defensive end. Like he's been a defensive clutch player.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges. And what sucks is that he went to Brooklyn, my team, and he's doing well with the Knicks.
So with these 4 series now in the second round, who do you have right now? Who do you think advancing?
Okay.
Or it's too early to tell right now?
I think, honestly, if I had to give my way too early prediction right now, I think the Celtics will come back. I know Knicks fans are going to hate me for saying that, but I think the Boston Celtics will find a way
in 6 or in 7?
In 7.
7, okay.
Like I said, I think the Knicks will win Game 3, and then Boston will go on a 4-game win streak and win the series.
Okay.
That's how I see this happening because it's classic Knicks. I can see it.
I see the Pacers beating the Cavs. I think the Cavs, if the Cavs don't get Darius Garland back, I think the Cavs will be gentlemen's sweep and losing 5.
I can see that. I can see that happening because the Pacers are playing with nothing to lose. They literally are playing loose. Like, of all 4 teams in the Eastern Conference remaining, the Pacers are the team that has literally nothing to lose.
So for now,
and out of the West,
for Golden State and the Timberwolves,
should be a fun series.
Depends on what happens. If Golden State is up 2-1 after Saturday, then I think they could win the series. If they're down, then I'm going to go Minnesota in 7.
I like Minnesota a lot. I especially love Anthony Edwards and the way he plays in the postseason. And then the battle of the 2 MVP candidates.
That's tough because I thought Denver could win the series, and then last night
they
didn't show up.
They got smacked last night.
They said, "Oh, we got the game we needed. We got home court advantage."
Yeah, that's not a good attitude to have.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the upside. I'm gonna pick Joker.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the Joker because I think still Oklahoma. The Thunder are still young.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the Joker. I think I'm gonna go with Denver, and I don't think it's gonna go 7. I'll go Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6? I'll say Nuggets in 6 as well. I think that's reasonable. I think the Thunder, they can blow people out, but that's it.
Yeah.
They can't really win close games. Well, they won the Memphis game close, but Memphis sucks. So I think against a really competitive team, you can do one of 2 things if you're Oklahoma City. You can either lose or you blow them out.
Right.
There's no in between where you win a clutch game.
So I think if the Nuggets beat the Thunder, eliminate them in semis, I think the Nuggets are going to the finals.
See, the thing is, I have Oklahoma City making it to the NBA Finals in my original bracket, but I think this could get this could be a really interesting series between Oklahoma City and Denver. It could because Jokic has a habit for playing well in the postseason. Right. He has. So I think it's very possible that we could see Jokic bring out the beast. But you want to know what's unfortunate? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win NBA MVP this year. But Jokic averaged a triple-double in the regular season.
Right.
And he's going to get denied. Jokic's best seasons are the years where he doesn't win the MVP.
Right. Because they're going to be the same. They're going to do like how it was
with Embiid.
With Jordan. Jordan couldn't win it every year. And now LeBron can't win it every year.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going to. Joker is basically the best player.
He's the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, he is.
No question about it. And he's awesome. Also, I want to get into, we mentioned in the past first round series, I want to get into one thing that actually really made me smile. I mentioned that the Minnesota Timberwolves upset the Lakers.
Right.
Well done, guys. Well done. Anthony Edwards and Naz Reid and Julius Randle, I'm so freaking proud of you. Because someone had to put the Lakers out of their misery and put LeBron out of his misery. And Luka, too. Yeah. Because this was the same team that everybody said, oh, they're going to dominate the Minnesota Timberwolves, right?
No.
Minnesota, like you talk about the Knicks being physical, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a very physical team too.
Yes.
Like Rudy Gobert,
Yes.
God. Rudy in game 5 of that series.
Yes.
27 points, 24 rebounds.
Yes.
And the best thing is the Lakers had no answer for him.
No.
This is where you miss Anthony Davis.
Yes.
This is where you miss him because at least if someone was going to dominate you inside, at least Anthony Davis could shut that down. Yeah. They couldn't do anything. Rui Hachimura, I mean.
Right. And basically that trade that Nico Harrison did with the Lakers with Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Doncic, basically, it's null and void because the Mavericks got eliminated in
the play-in game,
and the Lakers got eliminated in the first round in 5 games.
Yeah, they got.
So basically, it's a
I guess it's null and void right now. But if the Lakers win 2 NBA championships with Luka, then that's a completely different story.
Lakers have to do a lot better because LeBron ain't gonna be there no more.
No. And I hate it, by the way, when LeBron in interviews like, "Oh, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I gotta evaluate my situation. Gotta talk to my family."
So he's gonna go. He may play one more year with the Lakers. He's not gonna go back to Cleveland.
Year 23.
Who's gonna pick up that money?
Nobody.
$52 million.
Nobody's gonna pick up that. No.
So it might be the farewell tour for LeBron.
It's gonna be the farewell tour because honestly, what's he gonna be? 40.
He'll be 41.
41.
Lakers ain't going nowhere.
41.
Lakers ain't going nowhere.
And think of it, this team drafted Bronny for what?
I don't know.
For what?
Nah, he should just have his own legacy.
Yeah. Oh, Bronny.
All right, so now from the hardwood to now the ice.
Yes.
So now we have a couple series, which is interesting. So we have now Toronto Maple Leafs are leading the Florida Panthers 2-0.
That's actually very surprising.
Okay. We have game 2 tonight. Washington is down 1-0, 1-0 over the Carolina Hurricanes.
Shocking.
Okay. We also have Dallas is leading Winnipeg 1-0.
Thank God for that.
And then we also have game 2 tonight. Vegas is trying to tie up their series against Edmonton. They're down to the Oilers 1-0.
Now, what's interesting is that Edmonton and also Carolina and even Dallas, want to know what they did? They stole home ice advantage away.
Right.
Because in those first 2 games, you're on the road.
Right.
If you win one of those 2 road games, you steal home ice advantage from the team with the higher seed.
All right, so right now so we'll do it in the West. I'll do mine for the West, and then you do yours. Then
Sure. Yeah.
So I have Dallas beating Winnipeg. Dallas is a lot better than Winnipeg.
I agree.
I think if they don't beat them in 6, they'll beat them in 5.
I think Jake Ottinger's just a better goalie than Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are hyping up Connor Hellebuyck because he had a phenomenal regular season and that the Winnipeg Jets won the President's Trophy. But we know what happens when people win. I think they could get.
I think they could lose. I think the Stars could beat them in 6.
I can see that.
I want to say 6, but you know what? Instead of saying 6, I think they're going to beat them in 5.
I think the Stars can win in 5 or 6 games. Also, I think the Jets got lucky against the Blues. By the way, that was something that they really. That was a game they should not have won.
Right.
That was a miracle.
I think the Vegas Golden Knights is going to tie up the series tonight against the Oilers.
I agree.
I think the Knights will beat them in 6.
I have the Knights winning in 7. You got to remember, the Edmonton Oilers are the defending Western Conference champions for a reason because you have Leon Draisaitl, who's really good, and then Connor McDavid's one of the more underrated players in the NHL. The Vegas Knights have a lot of unsung heroes on that team, and I have the Knights winning the Stanley Cup, but I think that the Knights need to bounce back tonight for sure because they cannot go down 2-0-2 in their home ice.
For the East, I have the Maple Leafs beating the Panthers. I say they're going to beat them. Oh, man, they beat them so easily.
They beat them without their top goalie, too.
Yeah, I think they're going to beat them. You know what? I'm gonna say they're gonna beat them in 5.
You think it'll be a quick one?
Yeah,
a gentleman's sweep.
They'll beat them in 5, and depending on tonight, you know what? I'm gonna say because they had trouble last series. They had trouble last series over the Canadians.
Yes.
I'm not. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes.
You're going with the Hurricanes. Interesting. I like the Hurricanes a lot.
I'm going with the Hurricanes.
This is a team that I thought was going to take a step back because they lost a lot. They were supposed to lose a lot of people in free agency.
I'm going Hurricanes in 7.
I like Hurricanes in 7, and I think in the other series, I think Toronto might win that in 6 games. I think Florida has a little bit of fight left in them.
And then once we get down to the series, we'll close. We'll go back. We'll go over the conference finals.
Now, also when we come back on in 2 weeks, guess what? We're also going to go over the schedule release.
Oh, the NFL.
The NFL schedule release. Love that time of year.
So I know the Eagles are playing Thursday night at home.
Yeah, to open the season.
They're opening up.
Yeah, because that's what happens to the defending Super Bowl champions.
So they're saying what they're thinking is they might either put them home against either the Rams or the Lions.
Do you know their opponents off the top of your head?
Yeah. So we have the Giants. We have the Giants.
2 Giants, 2 Commanders, 2 Cowboys.
Yeah, 2
That's
Giants.
a simple one. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this is another thing. We have home game against the Bears.
Okay.
We have a home game against the Lions.
Okay.
Okay. We have a road game against the Packers and Vikings.
Okay.
Road game against the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Home against the Raiders. So basically, we played the AFC West this year.
You play the AFC West.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
That's right. That's right.
And then we're going to Kansas City too.
Wow.
We're going to Kansas City.
Super Bowl rematch.
We're going to Kansas City, and we're going to.
There's Los Angeles Chargers.
We're going to Kansas City, and we're going to L.A. I think Denver and the Raiders are coming to us.
Okay, so the Broncos and Raiders are coming to Philadelphia.
Yeah,
but you're going to Los Angeles and Kansas City.
Well, L.A. the Eagles, they don't have no fans over there, so the Eagles fans are going to go to
Los Angeles. Yeah.
SoFi.
Yeah, it's such a shame though because the Chargers have such a good team and they can't draw a crowd.
No, same thing with the Rams. Everybody goes to SoFi because it's not a true home field event.
Well, that kind of sucks because why'd you build the stadium?
Right.
Why'd you build the stadium? And the Rams won the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah,
and they still can't draw fans.
We're going to instead of Buffalo coming here, we're going to Buffalo.
God help you on that one.
Yeah, we got the Bills.
Yeah, you're going to be playing in the snow. Actually, it depends on when the schedule comes out.
Doesn't matter. We're used to the snow anyway.
True. That's true.
So you had the same thing. You had the same schedule.
Do you remember the iconic game where LaShawn McCoy runs for 200 yards in the snow?
Yes, against the Lions.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
I can't tell you the Giants' opponents off the top of my head. I know the 2 division games, and like you said, we're playing the AFC West this year, and
you're also playing the. You're also playing.
Are we playing the NFC North?
NFC North.
All right, so that's 14 games. The other 3 I can't think of. I know we're playing wait, hold on. We're playing the same teams in the conference that finished in last place because the Giants finished in last place in the NFC. So if we're playing the NFC North. That's not a problem.
Vic's actually going to look it up for you.
Vic's the MVP here. Let me take a look at the schedule's not up.
Let's do 2025 opponents.
Yeah, just their opponents because here we go.
Here they are.
Okay. Let's see how bad this is. Okay, so all right, so the Vikings and Chiefs are coming to us?
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah.
So we're going to
New Orleans though.
So you're going to Chicago.
Okay.
You're going to Denver.
We're going to New Orleans.
Detroit. You're going to Vegas, and you're going to New England.
Okay,
and you're also going to New Orleans.
Okay, let me. All right, so let me go look at their home. Obviously Dallas, Philadelphia, and Washington once at home. Okay.
You got the Packers at home.
Packers at home. That's gonna be a tough one.
Vikings at home.
Minnesota at home is gonna be a tough one.
Chiefs at home. Maybe not. Chiefs at home.
Not even gonna watch that game.
Chargers at home. Niners at home.
What?
So you got Dallas, Eagles. You got the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Vikings, Chiefs, Chargers, Niners.
What is this?
Good home schedule for you.
We have. I'm looking at a 3-14 record here. Our best games are on the road against the Saints and Raiders. What kind of schedule is this? We have no home games.
You do, but they're the best team in the league. Against the best teams in the league.
What?
1-16.
No, we're gonna be 3-14 at best.
How you gonna be 3-14?
3-4. Raiders stink. Saints
Raiders don't stink.
Yes, they do.
They got a quarterback now. They got a running back.
Yes, they stink. They stink. They're terrible.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Ashton Genty's going to stink in his rookie year.
No, he's not.
And then Geno Smith's going to revert back to reality. The Giants are going to make him wish that he never broke Eli Manning's streak.
Vic, can you put up the Eagles' opponents, please?
Yeah, I swear to God, if you have an easy schedule.
We don't got it easy. How's that easy?
No, if you have an easy schedule, I'm saying.
No, they don't. No, we don't.
You got to have an easy schedule.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I told you we don't.
You're going to win the 3 division games at home. You're going to beat the Bears. The Lions might be a tough. The Lions might be a tough one.
We got Lions, Broncos, Rams, Raiders at home. Then, like I said, the division games, we got to go to the Bucs again, at Packers, at the Chargers, at Arrowhead, Minnesota, and then Buffalo.
The Buccaneers can give you a tough one.
But it depends on when that game.
Actually, I just realized Jalen Hurts has a hard time playing against the Buccaneers.
Depends on when that game is. If it's like later in the season, but if it's like, say, September, forget about it. For some reason, the Bucs we're always going to Tampa Bay, not them coming here.
Yeah, and every time Jalen Hurts plays the Bucs, they lose. I don't know what it is.
I'm not worried about them. Let's see.
Minnesota and Buffalo.
Yeah. They're hosting that. All right, Vic, since you're a Jet fan, put on the Jets.
I would love to see the Jets schedule. Now, you got to care. My dad cares because he's a Jet fan and a Steelers fan.
I'm so sick of losing. I don't care. Like my friend was like talking about like what you get in the draft. I'm like, I don't care.
Do you know what the comedian? Have you ever heard the joke about the comedian that talked about the Jets?
What?
He was like, when I was a kid, I got into the Jets. And then I got into girls as I got older. And then I got back into the Jets because there are times when a girl won't
besides the
you because the Jets will always you.
Besides the 3 division games, they got home against the Browns, Steelers at home, the Falcons at home, Panthers at home, Denver, and Dallas.
They're playing the AFC South or NFC South.
Then away, they have Baltimore, the Bengals, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Jags.
The Jets, I don't know what I'm looking at with the schedule. Oh, they have the 2026 opponents up already.
How's that already? How do you have that already? So next year they're playing the NFC West.
They're playing the NFC West and the AFC South.
Can you go back to Vic, see what the
How do they have their 2027 and 2028 opponents already?
So Vic, do the Giants 2026 opponents.
Oh God, you're gonna torture me even more with this.
What division we're playing?
Oh God.
So
we're playing the AFC West, South next year.
we were playing the South.
Yeah, because I see the Colts and Jags and Texans and Titans on here.
Okay. All right. Okay. The South.
Well, how do we have the next 4 years planned?
I don't know how that is.
How is that planned already?
Every 4 years you play. Every 3 years you play each division.
I guess so.
You know.
I guess that's how it works.
You know.
Why does my life have to be difficult as a Giants fan? Can the Yankees just win a World Series, please? Please?
They did in 09.
I was 12.
You were 12.
I was 12.
They won the World Series last year.
Yeah, but then we got smacked by the Dodgers.
Okay.
Anyway, let's just finish this off with baseball. So, I went to the Yankee game on Tuesday.
Yes. Good thing you didn't cancel. Good thing.
Thank God I did not cancel and the weather held up because I would have been mad if the game would have gotten rained out a second time. And the Yankees won that game, too. They won 12-3.
Okay.
Aaron Judge hit home run number 12.
Right.
Austin Wells hit a grand slam.
Right.
Clark Schmidt held his own. He didn't get the win, but he did good.
That's good.
We took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Also, I want to give a fabulous note. Last night, the Yankees took the third game, the rubber match game, from the Padres because J.C. Escara, their backup catcher, hit a sacrifice fly to win the game in extras in the 10th inning.
So you swept them?
No, he took 2 out of 3.
2 out of
the
3.
first game they won. That first game, though, should not have been played. That first game in the rain should not have been played.
It was pouring out on
It was a torrential downpour, and it got delayed twice. That game should not have been played. But you want to know what the Yankees said? We need to get this game in because they don't know when the next time they're going to be free to play the Padres.
Why didn't you just have a doubleheader last night?
That's what I'm saying.
Doubleheader on Tuesday.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why couldn't we just do? Like, if the weather was going to be that bad, why didn't you just pushed that game to Tuesday.
Yeah, you just play a 4 and then at 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 4 at 7:30. You have a doubleheader.
It made no sense to me. I mean, the Yankees won the series anyway. And also, I want to mention the J.C. Escara story. I don't know if you know the story of J.C. Escara.
No.
J.C. Escara was a guy who has been looking to play on a major league team for years.
Okay.
He was playing independent league baseball. He was playing rec league baseball to keep himself active. And listen to this. For the past couple years, he was an Uber driver to make money and put bread on the table.
Okay.
And he hit his first home run. He had his first base hit. He had a walk-off sac fly last night. So I like this story. This is one of the better player stories going. Okay. Because to go from Uber driver to hitting walk-off wins is pretty amazing.
That's good.
The Yankees are going to be on the West Coast starting tomorrow over the weekend. They're going to take on the Sacramento A's, who are doing really well right now. They're in playoff position.
Yes.
I know the Phillies won 7-0 yesterday.
Yes.
And how'd you do against the Tampa Bay Rays overall? You took 2 out of 3?
No, tonight's the final game of the series.
Oh, so you're playing a 4-game set?
No, only 3. So we won the first 2.
You won the first 2.
We won the series. Tonight we're going to sweep them. We're trying to sweep them.
I think you're going to sweep them.
And then we go to Cleveland to play the Guardians.
That might be a tougher series for you because the Guardians are a well-rounded baseball team. I actually can we pull up the standings really quick, Vic, if you can? All right, so we're going to go to MLB standings 2025. I know the A's right now. All right, so let's go to see more. Yankees are in first place by a couple games. Excellent. The Blue Jays and then the Rays. The Orioles are in last place at 13 and 23. Shocking. The Tigers are in first place by a couple games. The Guardians are staying in it though. The Royals are still alive. The Twins and the White Sox are just whatever. The Mariners, look at the Seattle Mariners off to a great start once again.
Yes.
They're doing good. Cal Raleigh's having a really good season to begin the year. He's playing really well as Carl's looking at the Phillies game closely. The Astros are in third. The Rangers are in fourth. We had high expectations for them. And then the Sacramento A's are in second. And then let's go to the National League. The New York Mets are in first place. Juan Soto's starting to hit the ball now. He had a 2-homer game yesterday. So good. I guess it's good to see him get going a little bit. And the Phillies are in second, but they got the last wild card spot right now in the National League. It's still way too early, but
yep.
Look at the Chicago Cubs. 22 and what does that say? 16?
Yes.
Wow. 22 and 16. They're playing really well. Pete Crow Armstrong and Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki. That's pretty damn good. Although I will say they did lose Shota Imanaga for a little bit. And then look at this NL West. Look at this NL West.
Yep.
The Dodgers, Padres, and Giants, the 3 California teams in that division, are just killing it. Yep. And then look down there. That's 6 and 30.
Yep. 6 and 30.
6 and 30.
Yeah, so right now we have the Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Cubs, Mets, and Phillies.
Wow.
So right now, so if the season ended today, the Phillies would be playing the Cubs.
Yes.
In the wild card round, and the Dodgers will have the first round bye as a 1 seed.
And the Mets will have a first round bye.
2.
Yeah.
And then the Padres will be playing the Giants in San Diego for the best 2 out of 3.
That is correct.
Yes.
And the Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. By the way, while we still have the standings up here, I see the Pittsburgh Pirates out there. They did fire their manager earlier today.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They fired him after 6 seasons. The Pirates are off to a 12 and 26 start. Things are not going well. Even Paul Skeens is starting to evaporate a little bit.
Well, they weren't going to win anyway, so I don't know why they fired him.
Because I don't know what. One was head scratching.
They can't win.
They can't win, and they fire the manager. Yet Bud Black's suffering in Colorado.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
So at this season last year,
at this time last year,
what was the White Sox record?
You know what? That's a fantastic question. You know what? Is there like a thing for that?
So through 36 games last year.
The 36 games last year, what was the White Sox record?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the question we're trying to ask ourselves here. A year goes by so fast, it comes by like a blur.
Because I think they're going to lose over 100.
Oh, well, no doubt.
They're going to go lose over 100.
No doubt. But they're more competitive this year.
What's that? The White Sox?
Yeah, they're more competitive this year.
Competitive. Yeah, they're more competitive.
Yeah, but they still stink.
They still stink, but it's better than what they were last year.
The Angels, Mike Trout got hurt again.
Yeah. There were some scores. If you want some.
Oh yeah. ESPN. We'll go to ESPN and then we'll look at some scores. I know the Rockies lost because going into this show they were 6-29.
Yeah, they have it. So they're playing game 2 right now of the doubleheader.
They're playing a doubleheader. Okay, so we'll go to scores here.
Game 2's right now.
Okay, so look at. Oh my God, they're getting spanked 8-1 by Detroit.
Yeah, so right now
at home.
Yep.
And then Philly and Tampa tied at 1. Braves and Reds. I want Cincinnati to do well, man, but they just can't do it. They play some really good games and then they lose some games against really bad teams.
Yeah, I know. There's Texas lost earlier 5-0.
Yeah.
To the Red Sox.
And then if we go to the later games, Toronto's playing Los Angeles again.
Here
the
we
Dodgers
go.
playing the Diamondbacks.
Yep, the Twinkies beat the Orioles.
Twinkies beat the Orioles, and then the Red Sox won against the Rangers 5-0.
The Royals are on fire.
Royals won 10-0. They're hot, and then the Tigers won 10.
So right now for the standings? Looks like it would be the Yankees right now. So we got the
Yankees are the 3 seed right now.
No, yeah. So it'll be the Tigers as the 1, the Mariners the 2,
Yes.
Yankees 3,
Yeah. It would be
Guardians 4,
Royals 5,
Royals 5, and right now
Sacramento 8.
Sacramento 6.
That's
So
actually
right now it'll be, if the season ends today, it'll be Yankees and A's.
in the Bronx.
Yes.
In the Bronx. I said the American League Central was going to be really good, and they proved me right so far.
Yes.
Because the Royals and Guardians and Tigers, all 3 were really good last year.
I think I said the Guardians were going to win the division, right?
You did. That's on life support so far.
Well, not yet. Only 2 games out. I knew they were going to make the playoffs, but I had them win the division.
At one point, I thought the Royals were going to win the division last year. They just had that. They had the division in their grasp, and then they just choked it away. Baltimore in last place is very surprising.
Yeah, they're not going to.
I don't know what happened if losing Anthony Santander hurt them, but that's a shocker to say the least.
Yeah.
And then the Astros, their streak might come to an end. Their playoff streak might come to an end. Their AL Championship Series streak came to an end last year.
I'm not writing them off because last year Mariners were good and then they collapsed.
Well, last year was an all-time collapse because they had the best pitching staff in baseball, but a terrible offense.
Right.
This year, they're more well-rounded.
Correct.
They're more well-rounded. Like Cal Raleigh's having a good season. But you know what? You're right. Other than Cal Raleigh, no one else is really hitting the ball.
No.
It's just been like whoever shows up, shows up.
Correct.
But their pitching is still really good.
Yeah, the pitching's better. The pitching's good.
Their pitching's good, but it's amazing. They got Randy Arozarena and Justin Turner, and that amounted to
Justin last year, but just this year, Justin Turner's on the Cubs.
Okay, so Justin Turner's gone. Is Arozarena still there?
He's still there.
What's he doing? Nothing.
I don't know his stats.
I would love to know his stats. This will be the last thing we look up today. Randy Arozarena's stats.
What is it?
Randy Arozarena.
I don't even know.
All right,
There it is.
there you go. First thing that pops up. Randy Arozarena. He's got to be doing decent, I guess. Let's see. 2025.
He's hitting 223.
He's hitting 2. That's not good.
So he has 5 homers and 18 RBIs.
That's not great for his standard.
No.
Randy.
No.
And imagine all the star players on the Rays are not doing good on other teams.
No.
That's horrible.
No, so they have Kyle Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, and they got Julio Rodriguez.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The rest of their team is not good.
And they got Luis Castillo as their top pitcher.
Yeah, but like they had George Kirby too.
Yeah.
And he's good.
Yeah.
They have a good pitching staff. It's just their offense.
And before we also sign off tonight, so I don't know if you heard, we actually now have, the first time ever, American-born Pope.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Pope, I know. He's
Pope Leo 14. Pope Leo the 14th.
Pope Leo the 14th.
The first American.
First American-born Pope.
Yep.
America! Hell yeah!
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Also, Pope Francis. We were not here the last time. It was Easter Sunday or the day after Easter when it happened.
Right.
That's unfortunate that he passed away the way he did. But hey, listen, I'm happy for an American Pope. Pope Francis left an indelible legacy for sure. So that's pretty much all on my mind. Also, one quick thing that we also got to mention, and this is a briefer. We will be in Yogi Berra Museum on Monday for Yogi Berra's 100th birthday.
Thanks to Ming Chen and
Thanks to the incomparable and amazing Ming Chen
and his team at Shared Universe podcast.
Shared
Universe. Yep. Shared Universe.
And
podcast team.
And first off, I also got to thank Ming Chen and the Shared Universe team for promoting us the way they have, because I think we're one of the main shows on their network. You can fact check me on that. But
they have a lot of good shows on.
They have a lot of good shows on Shared Universe. But I can tell you right now, being one of the main shows on this network is great. And we've known Ming for a long time. Like, I think it was like 2021 was when we first started doing stuff with Ming.
Yes.
And we haven't left since, because Ming knows how to treat his clients. And like, especially like Vic and Christian and all the other people who work for Shared Universe who are producing this show and other shows.
CJ.
And CJ, yeah. I haven't seen CJ in a long time, actually. I wonder what he's up to. But anyways, from Matt Siriani and Carl Maglowski, thank you so much for watching the Equinox, ladies and gentlemen. Like SpongeBob SquarePants once said, respect your elders because old people are the greatest. They are full of wisdom and experience. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on May 22nd. Take care, everybody.